All right, we are going live. I need to just get all the systems rolling. Okay. Got here. We got the whole fam home today during this podcast or this live stream. So if it gets loud, that's the reason why. Okay, let's see, get this one going live. Going live right now, getting this ready to go. Almost ready. Oops. There we go. Okie dokie. All right, we are going live. We are on multi-channels across the interwebs, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Oh, is my Twitter working? I'm not totally sure. LinkedIn, all the spaces. It is the Sunday before the Tuesday that you're supposed to vote. So this Tuesday, please get out and cast your ballots. Ooh, that light is bright. Go a little bit more. A little more face. All right, cool. So Tuesday before the ballots, make sure you get out and vote. I have all of the voting locations in the chat or in the www.winkleformesa.com. Winkle for Mayor. I just posted up in there. You might see it, you might not. I don't know where it's at. What's up, DJ Nelby? Camden, how are you, sir? Happy Sunday. Yeah, so we are here. I'm not sure if this appears blurry on your end, but it's not on mine. It's nice and clear. We are all getting ready to get out and vote this weekend or this Tuesday. If you're a third party or independent, you can still walk in and vote. So don't be afraid to go try. You can, and the locations, once again, are you can find them on winkleformayor.com. And if you got questions, go ahead and keep adding them in the chat. Otherwise, I will just talk on things. Today, I'm wearing this Mental Health Matters shirt. This is a shirt given to me by O.D. Harris, who is a cool guy. Chandler Vice Mayor. He has a mental health focus for his city. He has a program he started there. I think we should definitely do something similar within Mesa and think about that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of things that can happen around that. Cities, I mean, they're not generally in the health business, but they are in the, outcomes, social determinants of health and outcomes for people. So I think cities definitely have some way of, participating and helping in that. And make sure my stream is good. It looks like my stream keeps on dying here. Oh my God, it's hot in here. I am hot. It is hot outside. Definitely more reasons. What's up, Osween? More reasons for shaded walkways, more reasons for more trees, more reasons for water conservation, more reasons for, being a prepper of sorts. I've always been somewhat of a prepper. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Some people may or may not like that idea. What is this camera doing? It looks like what is happening with it? I just kind of want a real looking camera. I don't know what's up. Okay, so all right. Happy Sunday morning. It is now Sunday, July 28th, 2 days until the primary voting happens. What's up, TikTok world? I'm fairly new to the TikTok world, but it's awesome that you're all here. Wearing my Mental Health Matters shirt from Mr. O.D. Harris. Thank you, sir. And talking about Mesa and things that can happen in Mesa. Let's talk about the mayor's office. I have been running this campaign now probably for 6-7 months. Generally, I would have started earlier in a kind of usual race, but I came at this a little bit late. So I've had to make up time by, doing some overnights and some middays and daytimes and all these different things. What's up, Connie? Hands. What's up, Sunshine? Hey, Sunshine, what are you? Good seeing you over there on the TikTok world instead of on the Instagram or Facebook world. Very nice. But that being said, we are trucking along. We've seen some polling that looks very good for us, and doing the mathing, I think we are very much in a strong second, and depending on what happens over the weekend, we could definitely be in a first. That all depends, though. So once again, please put your questions in the chat, or I don't know how I invite somebody on here, but that'd be kind of awesome if I could. But we are live on Facebook, Instagram. Oh, thank you. What's up? Ria. So I see Ria all the time now, It seems like I see her everywhere. We were just at the Filipino Independence Day. It was a big event last night for a fashion show and the pageant. It was really awesome. I stayed the whole evening, which was kind of a long thing. Filipinos like to have these very long events, but totally worth it. It was well put together. It was just a good event altogether. Sunshine, great to see you as always. Share your live and invite more friends. Yes, okay, that's great. Husband and father, good to see you. Jody Clark, Dan Bright, Gunner. Oh, wow, thank you for sharing. That's very nice, Ria. But anyway, so yes, once again, we are talking about today the primary election, which is the 30th. You can go down there if you are a third party, independent, and you can still vote in person on Tuesday. You'll be fine. Don't be scared. Just do it. It's important. The independents and third parties generally have zero ability to have an impact on your elections, and the reason is because they make it so that you have to request a ballot early, and it's confusing. It's a confusing process for most independents. So I would definitely say get out there and exercise your right to pick who you want to help make decisions for you and with you. Because if you are just mad and sitting on the couch and very anti, you won't have your chance to be part of it. I mean, not only is this your right to vote, your right to be participate in these elections, but it's your responsibility. You stage. Perfect. All right, we're live once again. That last comment. Hello, Sean. Hello, Ria. Once again, thank you for sharing. That last comment that I was saying was that it's these candidates that are out here, they do not care about you, and that is reflected in they are not meeting you where you're at. They do not care about the services that you are getting. Their goal is personal gain, and the people that are funding them are hoping to gain from them being in the position. And so it is important that you all get out and exercise your right to vote and exercise your responsibility to vote on the 30th. That being said, I think today the important topic, once again, Ryan Winkle running for Mesa Mayor, it's important to talk about why I'm running, because it comes down to like city services, and it comes down to how people are treated in the city. How many times have any of you reached out to call your council member, your mayor, and got an assistant who answered? They don't get that many calls, I'm going to tell you right now. I've been in that seat. They can definitely get that phone call if they want, and answer it themselves and come out and visit you directly. But what they choose to do is generally they usually sit there, they have their assistant reach out to you, and then hopefully you'll get some sort of resolve. My experience with the city has been a enforcement versus empowerment. And what I mean by that is we have city initiated code violations in the hundreds and thousands while they're trying to quote unquote clean up an area that has not been cleaned up in 30 years. And what that does is it creates mistrust, and it creates a situation where people do not feel like they want to be part of city happenings and city things. And so if you even look at their open data portal, the city has an open data portal. It was created under a Bloomberg grant, and you can look directly at the code violations. You can look directly at what type of policing and arrests are being done. And what you will see is that trespassing is one of the main violations in Mesa, and that code enforcement initiated by the city is the top number of enforcement. And so what they are doing is they are purposefully and weaponizing code enforcement to bother small businesses and to bother neighborhoods instead of, remember, like in some of these areas they're using it, it's 75% renter occupied, meaning that if that land or that house does not look good, that owner is a slumlord, okay? Slumlord. So we have large areas where we have renter occupied housing, single family housing, that the owner lives in Gilbert, Queen Creek, East Mesa, that they've owned for a long time. And then they are putting the onus on people who have been renting for generations to basically just keep paying them while living in in not good conditions, right? So this is where the city needs to come in and say, look, if you are trying to clean up a neighborhood, quote unquote, you need to empower folks to be part of it and help, not on their terms for their neighborhood, right? And not basically say, hey, I'm going to just code violate you. Right on. I'm going to try some of this new techniques. Right on. There you go. Thank you, Sean. What's my plan as mayor of Mesa? All right, I like that question. Ria. So the plan for me exists around a couple different things. One is, first and foremost, is transparency and accountability within city processes. That is city as a service. That means when you come into the city and you try to do something, it should not be a no, it should not be a go away, it should not be hard. It should be like, okay, let me see how I can help you figure that out. I remember specifically being there, and we had folks come in who had small businesses in an Asian district and who wanted to do a vegan night market, and other folks just wouldn't talk to them. And I was like, yeah, why not? That's what city services are for. They're to help you pull those permits, get those things filled out, whatever fees you're supposed to pay for that, pay it. and then get moving, right, on that event. And so city service is number one. It is a service. They need to act like one. And with me as mayor, you will get a good service. Secondly, I think about small business and neighborhoods a lot, because if you have a very healthy small business ecosystem and small businesses are able to grow and flourish in your city, those small businesses are the kings and queens of creating tax dollars in a city that depends on sales tax. When you look at how the city of Mesa has been run, they're making small strides. They're trying to engage with small businesses and help them to be better businesses. But in all reality, they're doing a lot of box checks and not really comprehensive work that helps small businesses really grow. You'll see all kinds of awards and these things that, oh, we did this and we did that. But why don't we check on the sales tax records in areas and actually see what really worked? Because if a city is as a service is really working hard and building small business corridors in a place-based way, you'll be able to directly see the sales tax increase in that area. It's measurable. And so I think this is an important key for us to think about and talk about. All right. The third thing is neighborhoods and neighborhood services. People, I knock a lot of doors. I'm getting ready to go out today. That's why I'm wearing this t-shirt. And we are asking people at their doors, like, you know, what is it? What should happen? What do you think? People want to be able to come to their neighborhood, you know, in a safe, nice neighborhood, pull into their house that they're, you know, purchasing and owning, building the American dream, able to use that for retirement one day or give it to their kids, have a decent school and that their kids can go to, and then figure out a job that's fairly close that they can, you know, survive, thrive, and move to flourishing with. That's pretty much every single person's wish and desire. That has nothing to do with, you know, Trump, Biden, Kamala, anyone in the national level. So don't even bother. Vote and vote local. And so I think homeownership is a huge thing, and credit building, and you know, income supports, aka figuring out other ways to create more income streams. So as a city, and what I've done in my working life is create programs that help small businesses and residents to build credit, to fix credit, to build budgeting plans and mechanisms for themselves, up their income streams, figure out where they can make more money, save more money, build a side business that turns into a regular business, and then how do they access capital and purchase a home? This is important for me across every level because, once again, back to that American dream. We want to be able to build wealth, retire, and enjoy life, and pass off some sort of wealth to our kids or family members. So yeah, any questions up for now? Thank you, Ria. That was a great one. Let me see. Anything else in any of the chats? I think it's just a small comment while I'm waiting for more questions to populate. It's interesting because since the very beginning, I've been talking about, you know, the city as a force for good, a force for empowerment, a force to help people succeed. And, you know, that was my message. And now I'm hearing all the other candidates use it in their own ways, because their original message was like, oh, we need to focus on safety and, you know, public safety and stuff like this. And that was their big thing. But you know what? The public is not going to be safe if no one can make money and no one can afford their house. So, like, think about it like that, right? And if there's terrible education, bad education generally directly leads to some sort of criminal element, because you cannot make money. Because a lot of times all the society is based on, oh, where did you go to college? What is your degree? La, la, la. What is your skill set? If you can't figure that out stuff because you never got taught that, you're not going to have the same opportunities, which means you're going to start becoming some sort of entrepreneur, which in the streets, especially in, you know, areas like in West Mesa, where I grew up, that turned into the drugs and other things that will end you up in jail and crime. And when we're doing these things, a city specifically, if you're not creating opportunities for your people, you are contributing to the school to prison pipeline, right? And that's specifically around you not being there to facilitate and to empower people with the services that you provide. So yeah, I just laugh because these, and I'm going to call them politicians. Jen, thank you very much. That is a question that we talk about almost every single time and everywhere that I go. The unhoused population, I just put the question up, and I'm glad that you brought it up again, because this is something that it doesn't stop. It's continual and it's forever. So one of the things that I am absolutely for is a housing first policy. And the housing first policy is using various mechanisms and procedures and systems to house people first as quickly as possible. And it's with very little barrier to entry, no judgment kind of a deal. Like, I don't care what they're doing, we need to house you. It's been proven. There's best practices, even in Salt Lake, the state right above us, that housing first works and it costs less for taxpayers. So if you are not sympathetic to humans, but you care about money, it is cheaper to house first. It is much cheaper to house first. Why? Because you're not paying for arrests, you're not paying for EMTs, you're not paying for hospitals, and you're not paying for jails. I don't think most people understand this, but cities, counties, you pay for jail stays for every single person that enters that. You pay for every arrest. You're paying for all the things that an unsheltered, unhoused person will not pay for because they can't. So housing first is a priority for me. And that includes, once you're housed, and this could be in many different ways, that includes wraparound services. And so that's a mental health being. See what I'm wearing right here? Mental health matters. This is my canvassing shirt for today. I like them nice and bright so that when I'm out there, I don't get hit by cars. And that includes addiction services, and that includes employment services. Not exactly in that order. It could be in many orders because you don't know when someone comes in, you don't know where they're going to be at. Yeah, Salt Lake is amazing. Not to mention, other countries have models, and I get it. We're different, right? We have this giant sprawl. It's difficult for people to get around, and a lot of that. I mean, our services. So people in the down. Sorry, I'm kind of like going off. So I'm thinking of different things, but people in the downtown area specifically, or places around the light rail, often complain, "Oh, it's the homeless light rail and all this stuff like this." Well, the reason why it becomes that way is because services are generally, okay, let's rewind. When the light rail was placed, do you think they're going to be able to bulldoze a bunch of areas through, rich or upper class neighborhoods? No. So what they end up doing is they generally find places, and this always happens, you'll find out if you look into where, major infrastructure projects are done, it's always through poor areas. Why? Because poor people don't know how to fight back. They have a hard time fighting back. They've been beat down for a long time. And generally these are places where it's people of color. So it's difficult for them to even understand systems because sometimes they come from a different place, whatever it is, they're not as astute as some of these neighborhoods that they won't go through, right? So that's the first thing. Exactly. The freeways in Southern California, the freeway in South Phoenix, okay? The freeway near Camelback. Every area that you'll see that has been kind of forgotten on purpose is generally separated by a freeway. You'll see that in community development. This is a major thing we talk about all the time. There's grants right now in the government called the Reconnecting Communities grants because they know this. This is proven. And so back to the idea of the homelessness and the light rail. So what they do also in poor areas is they put services, because if you were trying to put a mental health clinic that services seriously mentally ill people, and that means people who might walk in or be dropped off in a neighborhood that is upper middle class or rich neighborhood, they're going to say hell no, and they're going to go down to the council and they're going to scream and cry and say, no, we don't want that here. And I think they call that now NIMBYism, not in my backyard. I know we're having a whole lot more YIMBYism now, which is yes in my backyard, which I feel is a good thing, because with the amount of land and people we have now, you just have to accept that different types of people and things are going to be around you. If you wanted to have your own little enclave, then you're going to have to just buy some land and put a big wall around it and create a little mini government. Oh, wait, we have those. They're called HOAs, right? Yes, I do need more volunteers always, Joey, always. Right now, specifically, we're calling and ballot chasing. So if you want, please DM me or slide into my DMs with your number, and we will send, or I'll call you with like a list of people we're trying to chase for ballots. So that being said, back to the unsheltered unhoused, it's absolutely about the rapid rehousing and wraparound services. That sounds simple. It's not simple. It's going to take everybody. And I'm a huge fan of crowdsourcing from people in neighborhoods that live amongst folks. And I think we also have to think about how we treat people who are unsheltered and unhoused. I'll give you an awesome example that I just saw personally from a wonderful person named David at Bean Chain Coffee. I would suggest everyone go support that place. You will rarely find a person who is so kind and thinks and is very thoughtful as he is. A unhoused person, a homeless man, came in, and this is not like a recently homeless. You could tell he'd been on the street for quite a while. Not totally coherent, definitely some things happening with him. And he said, hey, can you, it was right when we were closing too, or he was closing, David was closing. He said, hey, can you give me a water, a sandwich, and I need you to call me a ride? And, a regular, most business owners now, because of the trespass documents that you can sign with police, and you're handing over your rights to say you can now make decisions on my behalf to trespass or arrest somebody on my property. They just take the I'm going to arrest or kick somebody out of here, move on. So what that does is that takes more time. It creates an altercation that could escalate very easily. And it now creates a scene in your business, right? And now you as a business owner or people around are in that altercation, in that scene. Now it could end simply and the person could just leave, or it could go crazy and you don't know what could happen, And so what David did, and it was just so commendable of him. He's like, hey, look, here's water. We put away all the food. So I don't have any sandwich I can give you, but I have these cookies or bread. I don't remember what it was, but it was some kind of thing he had that's like kind of a easy thing to give. And he's like, and let me figure out what I can do about getting a call for you. What kind of thing are you trying to do? Where are you going? The whole interaction took maybe 10 minutes. The guy was happy. He left with water. So now he had a little food, and then he got the 211 service, I think, to provide a ride to him somewhere. But it was faster, easier, kind, and more human than, choosing the trespass and arrest model. That doesn't work, because all it does is create more strain on resources. It generates more bills for the taxpayer, for those, once again, who are not humans and don't think of humans. So, yeah, I hope that was a good answer, Jen, but that's much more complicated than just, let's address this. It's a multi-pronged approach with many, many people, and not to mention thinking about these rentals. A third of all single family homes across the valley are rentals, and that's a problem in itself. I have no problem with some family getting an extra house and saying, oh, I want to rent it and make a little extra money, build my American dream. But when it's these trust funds and REITs that are coming in and buying these at a loss for a lot of folks who are having a hard time, that's the thing I have a problem with. And so I think that has to be addressed as well. A lot of them too are just sitting empty in times like right now. Airbnb is not it's not experiencing like a high level of work. It's experiencing actually a lower rental rate at the moment. So they might be sitting empty, and we have a lot of people on the street, and it's not okay. By the way, I absolutely believe in private property rights. I just think that a corporation is not a human. Let's put it that way. So anything else? What do we got? We got a lot of folks. It looks like in Instagram, once again, winkleformayor.com. We are going to definitely need help ballot chasing. When I win the primary, granted I win the primary, I like to be confident and will it and manifest it, but at the same time, let's be real. You never know. It's very difficult. This is a difficult race. There's 5 people. 3 of them are just kind of the same person, very top down, very corporate. Will basically sell the city to developers and lawyers however they want. And the other 2 of us are very non-conventional, are non-old boys club people, part of the younger Gen X group, which I think that millennials should be the ones who are kind of becoming in charge now. But these folks that are in office now will never, ever, ever pass the torch. So we almost have to just force them out through activity. Agree, societies help more create homelessness, and society must fix it. If people don't like the unhoused, then help provide services. Exactly, Joey. I'm going to highlight that because it's almost like I went to a event yesterday and someone sat me down and they were saying, hey, you know what? And they were a younger couple. So it's surprising that it was coming from them, but I get it. And they were like, how do you get these taxes down? Because I shouldn't have to pay for the education of kids that I don't have. And I said, well, let's kind of unpack that a little bit. The city of Mesa, you have to learn first what your taxes do, okay? City taxes are a very, very small part of your total tax bill. I would definitely encourage everyone here, if you have time or the thought process to do this, look at what you're paying in your income tax, in your housing tax, all the taxes, your sales tax. Calculate. I bet you're going to end up paying 40% of all of your money out in taxes. So when people say, "How are we going to afford this?" You're already paying for it. They're just using it in terrible ways. Okay, that's just a fact. But she said, how do you bring down these taxes? And the first thing I said, so talk about taxes and what they do. You have the national tax, right? You'll have your state taxes, you'll have your county taxes, and then you have your city taxes. And the city of Mesa depends specifically on a sales tax. And then it gets fees for developments and fees. So they try to use that a lot. And then they use their utilities like water, sewer, trash, and then their electrical utilities. That fits a very small area in the city of Mesa, about a square mile. And that is used to buffer whatever cannot be paid for through regular taxes, right? And the sales tax just had an issue, or I wouldn't say an issue, but the state passed something recently that essentially says we now give all of our TPT, or sales taxes, transaction privilege taxes, to the state, who then decides, kind of like the IRS, like, oh, what does the city get out of this? So we're probably going to see a decrease in that now. So cities are really being, hand-tied as to what they can do. So you have to be creative. That's the first thing that I said. Secondly, the city mayor and council office does not control Mesa Public Schools. That is their very own board, their very own governing board. And you can work together. Like the city can say, look, like we can't control them in any way. But what we can say is, hey, we have these resources. We have this old building we don't use anymore. We can probably help, to help refurbish it and get it ready for you to put a school if you want that, or whatever things like that. So physical things that they can help for. Hold on, Jen just said something. There's a house of my neighbor's been sitting empty for 6 years. Yep, exactly. And that's probably owned by somebody who just doesn't care, because I'm sure they own more than just 1 or 2 houses. That's an extra one that they've worked for. But yes, so the city can help with physical things, and then the city can help run a bond that pays for something. So a secondary, so with no primary property tax, which usually is what pays for schools and some other things, we can have a secondary property tax, and that's a timed property tax that only lasts for so long, according to what you say it is, that the voters have to vote for and pass. Once again, sorry, I'm back. This internet service thing. I'm taking suggestions. Okay, I'm taking suggestions that are not Cox and that are not CenturyLink, for people to tell me who to get with Wi-Fi. I'm considering going to the Verizon service because I have one of those, and at one of my offices, and it seems to work really well, and it doesn't overload like this all the time, based on cellular technology. But once again, this is a product of us as a society always giving everything, right-of-ways, services, tax breaks to these giant corporations who are, supposedly creating jobs for us, but really they're just charging us out the yin yang for terrible services. And then when you complain about it, they basically tell you, yeah, well, pay more and we'll give you better service. When something like Wi-Fi and cellular service has become so important to every transaction in life, that back to the unsheltered, unhoused, you have to have it. You just have to have it. What's up, Mel? Good seeing you. East Valley Paranormal, always awesome. Cocktail Fox, what's up? Artifacts. Yeah, we got a lot of, what's up, Quanta? Rep Cruise. So anyways, yes, we've been kind of talking about city services, what housing issues can happen and do, unsheltered, unhoused folks. What else we got? Every time they turn me off like this, it restarts everything, so it's just so irritating. I need suggestions on good solid Wi-Fi, not Cox or CenturyLink. So yes, going back to the city, let's talk about more city stuff. Anybody have any thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? TikTok still going strong over here. I'm a rat Swiftie. All right. I'm a rat Swiftie. What does rat Swiftie mean? Susan Lewis, Cynthia Paulette, welcome back. Of course, this internet is not working once again. This is so irritating. I don't know how people are going to live when they decide they're giving everyone's crappy services, except for somebody who pays extra for a moment and see how this is. So it looks like some things worked, maybe not. I know it's irritating. I'm so very sorry. This has to happen to everybody when you're just trying to answer questions, ask questions. So yeah. Okay. Loka Fit, welcome. Thank you for being here. Teaching Mama. Alvin Pro King. So yes. What else? What else we got? What else we need to talk about? Oh my God, look at my grades coming in. I guess it's a good thing. I guess in elections and politics, people also don't necessarily want to go always put their vote or their trust into, like somebody with no gray, like you have no experience or whatever that is. But one thing I would argue is that the experience of people in the neighborhood is what matters, not the experience of somebody's job history or whatever. I've had a lot of employees that I've hired, and they didn't have the experience that the resume, let's say, I mean, not the resume, the job posting said. But what they did have is the want to succeed, curiosity, and like a drive to like be there and show up because they were like given a chance. They thought, oh yes, I can use this and I can move up with this and I could learn, I could sharpen my skills. And I think those type of people that I've hired like that have been the best employees of all time. Okay, what do we got here? We got the screen here fading. fading fast. Did this return Instagram? Did my Instagram shut out? So sad, so sad. Nope, we are back. Sort of, maybe not. Live video once again. So irritating. Okay, we are back. Yes, we are. Perfect. So, okay. It's not the quantity of years, the quality of service you provide. Yep, that's actually true. Thank you, Joey. I will highlight that one. I'm trying to be better at this this StreamYard. But yeah, so back to the idea of this, primary. Primary is on the 30th. If you are an independent or third-party person, you have had a very difficult time participating in elections in the primaries. You generally have to wait until the general and get your ballot then. But I think it's important that you go on the 30th in person. You can vote. Please do. It's going to help your local elections tremendously, and it'll help you because someone like me becoming mayor of the city that actually puts people first versus putting large corporations and lawyers and zoning first is what you need and what we need to create a city that actually will succeed based upon its people succeeding. A city can succeed from a top-down perspective, just by getting a bunch of large corporations like, oh yeah, look, they bought all this land and they pay these fees, but generally that comes with a whole lot of things that you don't think about. I'll give you a good example. The Apple data center we have here. That's awesome. People love Apple. People love data. People love data centers. But what is it actually doing for the community that's here? It's using a lot of water. So it's just using a ton of our water. And it's a big, huge space taken in a part of the city that's kind of new, that doesn't have a lot of activity there. So it has very few workers. And I don't think it's a big win for the city. Is it a cool picture opportunity for electeds that want to show off that they know Apple and they did some with Apple? Yeah, but I would suggest that helping 200 small businesses in one part of that city would be 10 times more economically effective for our city, and then helping a lot of residents in that area fix their credit or build their credit, access to capital and buy homes. That probably would do 10 times the amount of economic development that having one Apple data center does. So I don't consider that economic development. I consider that like cool little check mark on the list of having a cool name in your city, but I don't consider that economic development. What's up, Yen? Jennifer? All things with Mel. How are you? Yes, our local downtowny, our new downtowny, Mel. Got Codex Angel, a few folks on here. So yes, once again, I will circle back to the idea of empower, not enforce. I have one opponent who is very savvy politically, has a buttload of money, and everything that I seem to say that people love, he takes it and turns it into a boomer style commercial for whatever I'm saying, because he just doesn't be in the streets or be out there in the streets to get these ideas. I get them straight from people. Everything that I'm saying come directly from people. Okay, so and my experience with folks in the neighborhoods for the last 10 plus years. Any other people have anything to say? Got about 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes, my friends. And then we can get out on this Sunday. I got a long list today. I have 100 house list that I'm supposed to do right after this. And I don't know if you've ever done 100 houses. Let's talk about the math of door knocking. Just if people don't know, if you are very fast, you can probably do 30 doors in an hour. That's somebody who's been doing this for a long time, like I have, because you get a list of people. And right now, these lists are not very close together because what we're doing is we're chasing down ballots. of folks who have a ballot and have not voted, or who will be voting on the 30th. And you know that through public voter data. And so I'll be going house to house, knocking on the door, saying, hey, you know, do you have your ballot? If you do, bring it with you on the 30th. And if we know you're going to vote and you don't have a ballot, but you might vote on the 30th, I'll go to your house like, hey, knock, knock, how are you? I'm Ryan Winkle. I'm here just to introduce myself to the neighborhood. I'm running for Mesa Mayor, and we can discuss, you know, ideas, thoughts, whatever it is. But I would encourage you to vote on the 30th. It shows in our records that you have been a voter in the past and, you know, a fairly consistent voter. So I hope you have a plan for voting. And if you can't find those, where to vote, I have it on winkleformayor.com, or you can always go to maricopa.vote if you'd rather go direct to the source, but sometimes it's just easier to remember, you know, the candidate you're talking to's name and what they're doing. And so, and I always hand out these little flyers that I have, but winkleformayor.com and vote. We've done the math. We've seen some different polling data. We have a very good chance of winning. And so it is important. That chance is only though because of people like you who are out there and voting and doing things in your neighborhood, because it is very easy to buy an election through, you know, getting huge donors that allow you to buy lots of commercials and send mailers that look like they're kind of like not from you, but look like a voter guide or something like that. And this is what my opponents always do to fool people. But I would definitely check up what people are actually doing in real life, not just saying. My opponents like to say the same things that I say. For example, I always say empower, not enforce, and that includes policing, that includes zone code enforcement, that includes every single business license application thing you can do in the city. I legitimately saw an opponent post a commercial that they made now just about that, changing the words a little bit. When I know that that person has been the mayor in the past, and actually a couple of them have been mayors in the past, and they have supported nothing but enforcement instead of empowerment. And so I would look at what has happened in the past with people and what can happen that they aren't doing currently, because just so you know, majority of folks that are running right now are just keeping the same. They're not going to change anything. They're not going to make it better for people. And everything that I do, everything that I put forth is people first, people over politics, people over over property, and people over you know, corporate gain. So yeah. Anything else? What do we got? What do we got here? Thank you, sir. I see you there. I dropped your signs off yesterday. I put some extra ones too, just in case. Yeah. We are about to leave. We got 7 more minutes, and I am hitting these streets. All right, Mary, Jennifer, and Paulette, you returned. Cindy, Ann, how are you? Susan Lewis. Got 5 folks on TikTok. We've had quite a number to this live, but I'm not totally sure, once again, how this works. So, yep, StreamYard, good. My Wi-Fi service, bad. I guess you now have to subscribe to Premium in order to do stuff with X, formerly Twitter, which is interesting and a bummer. And also with Instagram and Facebook now, you have to pay to get those blue marks. I've had that blue check mark since forever ago, but I guess it's now a pay thing. So I don't know, maybe I should just pay for it. Maybe it helps. Yes. We're live once again. Okay, well, I don't see any folks with any new questions, so I will just say goodbye. I guess we have 5 minutes left. Go to Winkle for Mesa or winkleformayor.com, 602-741-6465, like you see on my sign back here. And go ahead, give it a call if you want to. All right, have a good one. Peace.